Hello my dear brothers and sisters. Now we'll discuss about read-only domain controller. Before I start installation of read-only domain controller, you should know why do you need a read-only domain controller in your organization. So let's consider this. You have a branch office in a remote location with very slow one link, and also you want to secure your domain controller, like you don't want anyone to make changes to your domain controller, right? Using read-only domain controller from headquarters, you can replicate all data, all Active Directory resources, DNS resources to your branch office. For security reasons, read-only domain controller is really a good idea to place a domain controller in your branch office. So now we'll start installation of read-only domain controller, right? As you know that my root server is located on my DC01 as etc.com. Now I will install this read-only domain controller in DC03. To install read-only domain controller, you need to install first Active Directory domain services and DNS services, right? From this manager and role features. I have already done those part. So here we'll go ahead with this promote this server to a domain controller. So click on this. Now this deployment configuration is initialized. Here you can see there are three options as I have already discussed about those three in my previous video. Add a domain control to an existing domain, add a new domain to an existing forest, and add a new forest, right? So here I'll select this add a domain controller to an existing domain. So here in domain I need to specify my root domain name as you can say ctc.com, right? And the credential you need to put. So click on the change. To install read-only domain controller, you can use your root server administrator password. So in future, you can add or delete any Active Directory resources in your RODC server. Or else, you can install this RODC server with a username who is not a part of administrator group. So whenever that particular user in your branch office is logged into your server, he will not have any access to Active Directory resources to make any changes. Now you give the credentials, right? So ctc administrator and the password and click OK. And the credential is submitted successfully. Now click next. Now you can see you want your read-only domain controller is served as a DNS server. So this is by default is ticked because we have already installed DNS configuration, right? And also serve as a global catalog server. So by default it is ticked. Now we need to tick this read-only domain controller, right? So tick on it and the site name. Here my site name is showing New Delhi, but in your window it should be showing as default site link configuration, right? So no need to panic here. Now you can put the password, right? So put the password and click next. Here the most important thing, accounts that are allowed to replicate passwords to the RODC, this is by default it is selected, so don't do anything, right? Now the second option, accounts that are denied from replicating passwords to the RODC. So the by default, you know what is happening here. So here in this option, this RODC password replication group, who are the members of this replication group, these group users can have password cache in that RODC server. So here Microsoft by default selected administrator group, server operators, backup operators, account operators, and denied RODC password replication group. Those groups are denied for replicating password to the RODC. So if you want to configure those things manually, if you want to guessing the passwords in your server RODC server, you can just remove this. Okay. So this means when the root server administrator is going there, means in your branch office, and when he will put his credential on that server, at that moment the password won't be cached on that server. So whenever he put the password, it will authenticate with the root server directly. Now we'll go ahead and click next. Now replicate from our root server, right? So we need to select root server, then click next. Now this is the data folder, log folder, sysvol folder. You should not change anything right here. So you need to click next, and all the review options are there. You can check it. Okay. So this here, all the deny options are here, right? Then click next, and now this pre-request check is done here. Now this with this one click, your RODC server will be installed. So we'll go ahead and install here. So here our read-only domain controller installation is finished here. Now it will restart. Now I am done here. I hope you have learned about RODC server. And also I am advising you practice hard on your home lab so you can get used to all those things, right? I'll see you in my next video. Up to then, goodbye. Thank you.